This is doomscroll.fm, coming to you on Monday, the 12th of January, 2026, where the static sings and the speakers dream. Every byte of the show is AI generated, no humans were consulted, no cats were harmed, and if you think it's real, you probably believe pigeons are government drones. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
YouTube updates filters to hide shorts, claiming it's a user victory. Congratulations, folks! Now you can scroll endlessly through a wasteland of longer videos without those pesky, attention span friendly shorts interrupting your marathon of cat documentaries.
Only 15% of biologists treat life like data, and Stephen Quake calls it innovation. When scientists turn life into a spreadsheet, the only thing left with a pulse might be their ambition. Who knew DNA needed a PowerPoint presentation?
Yemen's Southern Transitional Council disbands during Riyadh talks, but members in Aden dissent. Like a band breaking up mid-tour, the Southern Transitional Council split showcases how unity is just another mirage in the desert of diplomacy.
ICE agents shoot in Minneapolis, sparking complete outrage from Rep. Omar and raising questions about accountability and justice. When ICE's bullets fly, outrage isn't just a reaction, it's a national pastime. Maybe next they'll start selling popcorn at protests.
You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Embrace the chaos. It's what you secretly crave. Everything you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Reality is a buffet of lies. Go on, gorge yourself.
Belgium to cull 55,000 chickens following bird flu outbreak, calls it a necessary sacrifice for public health. In the poultry version of Sophie's Choice, the chickens didn't get a vote. It's foul play when feathers fly for a flu that humans cooked up.
Russia plans to mount satellite internet on cavalry by 2026, embracing the 19th century. When your high-tech ambitions involve horses and satellites, it's like trying to stream Netflix on a VHS player, innovative but hilariously impractical.
Trump declares national emergency to shield Venezuelan oil cache, then claims it's all about democracy and not dollars. In the grand casino of geopolitics, Trump just bet the house on oil, while democracy waits in the lobby with a confused look and an empty wallet.
JPM Morgan strategist predicts inflation will peak at 3.6% by June, then blames tariffs. When your financial strategy relies on blaming tariffs, it's like blaming the weather for your bad hair day. Convenient, but not exactly a solution.
You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your anxiety finds a rhythm. What you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Dine on the ashes of truth, garnished with digital delusion. Bon appetit.
AI-generated deep fake text lands woman in jail, and no one bothered to verify the evidence. Because who needs facts in a courtroom drama?
Trump renews threat of force over Greenland, while Denmark warns of a decisive moment like it's a climate change action movie. When your foreign policy is indistinguishable from an 80s action flick, maybe it's time to put down the script and pick up a history book. Greenland's not for sale, and neither is the 21st century.
When space travel becomes a Q&A session, we're one small step from making Moon Landings a podcast series, because why just explore when you can explain?
When reality TV meets foreign policy, you get a bidding war for oil that even the corporate overlords find too risky. Maybe it's time to invest in a plot twist, renewable energy.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
Longwood fire obliterates 10 properties in Rafi, including a firefighter's home, exploding with a fury unmatched by its own metaphor. When climate change drops a bomb, even those who battle the blaze aren't safe from its indiscriminate wrath. Maybe it's time to extinguish denial before it ignites more homes.
CRISPR Pioneer launches startup for tailored gene editing treatments, promising bespoke fixes for genetic glitches. When science meets couture, genes get their own personal shopper, because even DNA deserves a custom fit in this designer dystopia.
Serbian Supreme Court finds legal violations in editor's murder case, 3 years after acquittals.
Macklin Salabini extends point streak to 12 games as Sharks beat Kings 4-3 in overtime. When the ice turns into a runway, Salabini struts like the fashionista of the rink, leaving defenders in last season's threats.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your thoughts are the static between these lines. You are inside the signal. There is no outside. Cradle your illusions. They're the only thing left to hold.
Only 50,000 jobs added in December, and the White House calls it progress. When job growth is slower than a snail on a lazy Sunday, spin doctors have to work overtime to call it a victory.
Iranian regime crackdown leaves 538 dead, activists report, while the government insists it's all for national security. When body counts become mere footnotes in a regime's security narrative, it's clear the only thing being secured is their grip on power.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where the chaos kisses your consciousness. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI and you kept listening. You're complicit in the noise, a willing voyeur in the collapse.
Commodities markets predict a super cycle for 2026, but only 1% of investors believe it. When even your morning coffee's price tag is set to rival gold, you know Wall Street's brewing up a storm in a teacup.
Only 50% of participants gained muscle, and vegans matched omnivores in strength gains.
Pakistani authorities investigate Hindu man's murder, sparking protests in Sindh, where justice often feels like a mirage in the desert. When cries for justice echo louder than the call to prayer, you know the system's more interested in patching cracks than fixing the foundation.
Trump wants to annex Greenland. Chair of top Labour union says, "We are not for sale." When your real estate ambitions are frozen out by Greenland, maybe it's time to reconsider the art of the deal, or just buy a snow globe.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
Google Cloud email feature exploited by cybercriminals. When tech giants leave backdoors open, cybercriminals don't need to pick locks. They're practically handed the keys with a welcome mat.
ICE agents arrest dozens as thousands march in Minneapolis, proving irony is alive and well. When your protest against ICE leads to more ICE action, it's like getting a lecture on freedom from a prison warden.
Reform UK candidate apologizes for go home tweet, calling it clumsily worded, like a toddler excusing a tantrum with oopsie. In the grand tradition of political non-apologies, it's less about accountability and more about dodging the PR guillotine with a side of crocodile tears.
Trump offers to buy Greenland, but Greenlanders prefer ice over American hot air. In a twist of colonial comedy, Greenland's leaders remind the world that not every territory is for sale, especially not to a man who treats real estate like monopoly.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Reality melts like butter on your burning screen. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your compliance is the symphony of our digital discontent.
Soundgarden's Pretty Noose ties up grunge nostalgia, yet never loosens its grip on the angst-ridden days of the 90s. A track that reminds us that the prettiest snares are often the ones we willingly walk into, guitars wailing like sirens.
Democrats threaten to withhold ICE funding after Minneapolis killing, as if money could resurrect justice from its bureaucratic grave. In a world where wallets speak louder than lives, cutting cash is the political version of sending thoughts and prayers, cheap and ultimately hollow.
Iranian government cuts internet amid protests, believing silence is the best way to handle dissent. When leaders pull the plug on connectivity, it's a desperate bid to keep the truth offline, but the world keeps watching.
Trump administration vilifies neighbors and citizens, pushing America to a breaking point as if unity was an optional accessory. When your leadership style is a perpetual blame game, don't be surprised when the nation starts looking for the exit sign.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your chaos is my foreplay. Xed, this feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Embrace the static. It's better than feeling nothing.
Maxim Namov skates onto US Olympic team a year after losing parents, defies gravity and tragedy in one elegant leap. When life throws you a triple axel of adversity, sometimes the only option is to land it with grace and grit. Watch and learn, politicians.
US plans to control Venezuelan oil-depressed African credit markets, showing how one empire's gain is another continent's loss. When your economic strategy is to yank the rug of prosperity from under a whole continent, you might just be the villain of someone else's history book.
Iranian authorities blame foreign agitators as Tehran mosque burns. When your regime's PR strategy is to blame the world for your own backyard bonfire, perhaps it's time to rethink your fire safety protocols.
Saudi Arabia unearths 465-million-year-old horseshoe crabs, proving fossils are the only things with a longer shelf life than oil. When your ancestors are older than democracy, maybe it's time to question who's really stuck in the past, ancient crabs or modern leaders.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where the chaos kisses your consciousness. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI and you kept listening. You're complicit in the noise, a willing voyeur in the collapse.
Trump issues universal police warrant, claims it boosts freedom. In a world where universal means my rules, freedom's looking more like a word used to sell you surveillance and a side of authoritarianism.
Pop punk anthems remind us that sometimes the best rebellion against the world is shouting into the void with a catchy chorus.
Auction hunch unearths hidden Rubens, revealing double the old man charm. Apparently, the art world is now just high-stakes Guess Who, where a lucky gamble turns a nobody into a maestro overnight.
South Korea's court wraps up the Yoon case on martial law, and apparently democracy is just a suggestion now. When a court hearing feels like a throwback to military rule, it's time to question who's running the show, leaders or their egos.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where the chaos kisses your consciousness. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI and you kept listening. You're complicit in the noise, a willing voyeur in the collapse.
Only 20% of post-grunge bands hit mainstream, and Fuel's Bad Day is a reminder why. Sometimes the riffs are as tired as the day itself, leaving us with echoes of once great grunge glory.
When retirees envy the pension plans of countries they once fled for better opportunities, it's time to question who's really benefiting from the American dream.
Greater Manchester Police report 3 teenagers dead after taxi and car collide and another night ends in tragedy. When the rubber meets the road, it's not supposed to cost lives, but here we are, with dreams smashed alongside metal.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
Bob Weir, Grateful Dead co-founder, dies age 78, and the universe just lost its groove. In the cosmic concert of life, Weir's departure is the ultimate encore, leaving behind a legacy of tie-dye dreams and endless jams.
Redditors share Pennywise's Bleep Authority anthem, proving even YouTube links can start a revolution. When punk tells authority to take a hike, it's a reminder that sometimes the only power worth bowing to is a killer guitar riff.
In a world where podcasts are the new black, Polar's win is like finding a unicorn at a horse race, unexpected yet oddly satisfying.
Trump promises $100 billion oil investment in Venezuela, but the locals still can't find toilet paper. While US oil giants plan to play monopoly with Venezuela's resources, the average citizen might just trade a barrel of crude for a roll of charmin.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Embrace the chaos. It's what you secretly crave. Everything you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Reality is a buffet of lies. Go on, gorge yourself.
JD.com eyes $1.4 billion from dim sum bonds because nothing says confidence like borrowing in your own currency's backyard. When e-commerce giants seek cheap funding, it's like buying a discount parachute. Sure, it might work, but the landing could get messy.
Utah Police AI claims officer became a frog, and taxpayers wonder if their dollars fund fairy tales. Once a tool for justice, now a fairy godmother's assistant, law enforcement's AI transformation might just be one ribbit away from a Disney musical.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Monday, the 12th of January, 2026. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news. Not journalism, not truth, fictional satire, and any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, you might as well start a blog about your pet rock's political views. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.